Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Morning People, the podcast for literally anybody who doesn't do grief right. Today, I sit down with Idaliz Romero. She is an author, a widow advocate, and the founder of Bloom After Loss, a support group for widows to share their stories and their experiences with losing their partners. I really liked this conversation. We had a talk with each other before the recording, and she's just like so joyous and beautiful. And yeah, I hope you enjoy hearing her story. It's a beautiful story.
Sure. My name is Idaliz Romero. How do I put this? I am a widow, and because of that, I decided to create a group called Bloom After Loss. I know that the widows in general, we feel lonely sometimes because we have no one to talk to. Not many people understand what widows go through. I mean, we all know the basics, but then after the basics is done, we're left with so many other questions and doubts and fears and so many other things. And so I felt that as a widow, and I've been a widow for 18 years, but actually been grieving the past 3 years because life got in the way. And so I feel that I'm not the only one that is going through that. And I feel that I need to help those women. I don't know. I feel called to it. For me, it's a calling.
Yeah.
Like I said, my husband passed away 18 years ago due to ALS. If you don't know what that is, it's amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which is a really difficult disease to see somebody go through, especially a young person. He was only 41 when he passed away. So he was pretty young. And so it was hard for me to process at that time because there were so many things going on. Of course, the usual the finances you got to take care of, everything else that has to be taken care of. Life has to go on. You got, my kids were older, but still, they were my kids. I still had to be there for them. So my grief took a hold and I had to put it on pause. And not only that, there was guilt. I felt guilt. I felt like I maybe wasn't a good wife, or I failed him, as a mom, or I just had so many doubts and so many guilt that I felt inside that I just felt unworthy of mourning him. I don't know if that makes sense, but I
It
felt like
makes
I
sense.
wasn't worthy of it. And so I decided, I just put it on hold, just forgot about it. Or so I thought. And then I just kept, you know, doing my life, working, doing whatever I had to do. And then I would say about 5 years ago, my grandson passed away. He was 12 years old. And you could call it a wake up call
Mm.
if that's what the words are. But I felt like I needed, like he brought forth the grief that I was holding inside. And so I started working on myself and figuring out, why was I feeling unworthy? Why was I feeling guilty? Why was I feeling all these things that kept me from mourning my husband, who was a great husband? I mean, there was no reason. But the more I digged in, the more I figured out why, and why was I feeling like that? And one of the reasons, and I think, we talked about it, is that, I was sexually assaulted when I was 21, and believing that I wasn't, worthy anymore because I wasn't pure, and like having him accept me just the way I was, and me at that time not feeling the love that I should have felt for him because I wasn't getting married because I loved him. I was getting married because I found someone who would accept me just the way I was. And so I married him. And through the years, I learned to love him because of his kindness, because of this person that he was. He was loving to everyone. I mean, the kids adore him. Friends loved him. My mom loved him more than she loves me now. And so it was incredible. What kind? I was blessed to find a person like that. I was so blessed, and so I felt like because of what I have been through, my experience, I wasn't being the wife that I should have been intimately, and so I feel guilty. I felt that he deserved a better wife because I was damaged goods, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
And I felt he deserved better. So for all these years, I just felt this guilt that maybe I shouldn't have married him. Maybe he should have found a better wife. Maybe, all this should have, could have, would have.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like I said, after my grandson passed away, I started dealing with all this. And I'm like, he loved me for who I was or for who I am. And so why am I taking that away from him? Why am I not giving him the honor he deserves?
Mhm.
Because he deserved the honor. He deserved me being more. He deserved to be remembered. He deserved to be talked about. And that's why I started doing this. I've been searching for pictures because after he passed away, I put everything away. I got rid of everything. I just didn't want to see anything. And so now I've been desperately looking for all his old pictures so I could have one in the living room. I went through my closet, cleaning out my closet because it was a walk-in closet, but then it wasn't.
I understand that.
Exactly. So I ended up cleaning out my closet last weekend, and I actually found a box, and inside was a teddy bear, which was his last gift. It was a Build-A-Bear Care Bear, a little bear, and he actually put us. He at that time he was in a wheelchair, but he asked my kids for help, and he got me this beautiful teddy bear, and it said "World's Best Wife."
Yeah.
And when every time you press the hand, it said "I love you." So every time I just remember him. And so I took it out and I dusted off, and now it's sitting in my bedroom where I can see it every day because it reminds me of his love for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I feel like I failed him by not remembering that. I really feel like I did. I failed him. And now I'm trying to catch up,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and share my story and let women know that, yeah, being a widow is difficult. It really is. It's not as easy as it seems. And like we were talking before, you lose a child, people understand. You lose a parent, people understand. But when it comes to being a widow, widows don't get that understanding because you lost a spouse, you move on.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it isn't that way. It really isn't. At least it wasn't for me.
Mhm.
And so that's why I decided to build this community called Bloom After Loss. And it's a circle, and I have it online. I'm working on a group page that will be private so widows can feel free to speak without the fear of people judging them.
Yeah.
And I also started an in-person group in the women's club that I belong to. And so just they could feel free. They could feel able to feel what they're feeling
Mhm.
without being
Mhm.
judged. They can
Yeah.
share their anger, their guilt, without that judgment that they may get from others.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so that it just I just feel amazing about what I'm doing. I really do. It just came out of nowhere. And literally in 1 week I created a 90-day journal
Yeah. A
with
physical journal,
yeah.
not an
Well, right now
ebook.
it's online yet, but I am working on it to get it in a physical book
Yeah, we talked
because I
about
think
that
it would
before, and
help.
I was like, "I'm so sick of
Yeah.
ebooks. I need to hold it."
Yeah, no, me too. I'm a book person. I love books, so I like to have it. So I'm a journal writer. I've been writing journals my whole life. And honestly, that's what helped me get through everything I've been through. And I mean, all my trauma since I was a child. And so all this with the journal has helped me put things in perspective. And then I go back and I read them and well, that was me at that time, and I see how the changes in my life and how my grief has changed from one way to the other. Now it's my grief right now. I don't know how to explain, but it's a happy grief
Yeah.
because I actually can grieve him, but now I feel like I fell in love with him again
Mhm. Mhm.
without all that barrier of guilt and doubt and all this other stuff. I feel like I could love him completely now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's, you being able to recognize where the shame and guilt you felt in your marriage and how that
Mhm.
contributed to suppressing the grief once he passed away. Like, that wasn't about him, that was your
Mhm.
internal struggles, right? And
Right.
being able to see that through your journaling and seeing like, "Oh, this is what I was going through." So to lift all of that from your psyche, you have
Mhm.
space to love him now, right?
Yes, I
Instead of
do.
filling that space with guilt and shame, you're free to love him.
Yep.
And I think it's really beautiful how, and again, we talked about this the last time we spoke, how it was the loss of your grandson that kind of showed you
Mhm.
that it's possible to grieve your husband too, right? And
Yes.
that was kind of like we talked about how that's kind of like a gift from him, and how
Mhm.
in the moment it's really hard to see these gifts that sometimes loss gives
Yes.
us. But like what a great way to honor both of them through your grief and through your healing, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a way of honor both of them because it's love that keeps you going because without love you can't keep going. It's just that's all that matters. And the love that I have for my grandson just spilled over to the love that I have for my husband, which I was holding into, I was keeping inside because of the guilt.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to say it, and I'm able to say that I love my husband, and I am still a wife, and I will always consider myself a wife. I feel that, how do I put it? I've always used to say that when people ask me, like, are you married? I say, yeah, but he lives someplace else.
Mhm.
I'm still married. He just lives someplace else,
Yeah.
which he does. He lives someplace else.
Mhm.
And one day I know I'll see him again.
And like you're still honoring like that bond of your marriage, right? Whereas
Yes.
you weren't fully able to do that before, right?
No.
And that in and of itself opens up like a whole wide spectrum of grief, and shame, and for you to be able to heal that part of you and just feel the love of it is amazing.
Yeah. Well, thanks. That's I think the biggest part for me, knowing that I could have. I feel like the weight has been lifted off my chest. Like I had something on my chest holding me down, like the rock or something heavy. And after awakening or whatever it's called, I just feel like I can breathe. Like
Yeah.
I can breathe again, and I feel happy about the way I feel now.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I want the widows to feel the same way.
Yeah.
I want the widows to understand that no matter what they're going through, what they're feeling, that love is still there.
Mhm. Mhm.
That love is
It
still with you.
it's so amazing how forgiving yourself is such a freeing experience, and when you forgive yourself
Yes.
for the things that you feel are the worst parts of you, regardless of if they were or not,
Mhm.
you're truly able to experience so much more
Oh,
once
yes.
you make that decision. And sometimes it's the decision you have to make over and over again to forgive yourself or
Yes.
anybody else. But, shame has such a way of distorting who we think we are and what we
Mhm.
think we deserve, and putting that part of you aside, like honoring that part of you and accepting, yes, this happened, but I'm going to move through it, and I'm going to do something
Yes.
with it, frees up so much space for you to live as like your authentic self, and for you to like truly feel the good parts of your marriage, the good parts of how you were a
Mhm.
wife, the good parts of how you were a mother and a grandmother, instead of constantly going, yeah, that was good, but I'm still a terrible
Mhm.
person,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like
That's
now
how
it's
I felt. Yeah, yeah, that's
that was
exactly how
good,
I felt.
period. That was good,
Mhm.
and I deserved it.
Yeah. But it was the other way, like you just said. Yeah, I was a good mom, but I could have done better. But I
Yeah,
didn't do this. Maybe I was a good wife, but no, I maybe didn't do this. Or it's like no, there's no buts. Period.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's
I
it.
just think
And I
it's
completely
it's
agree.
it's so strange how the human condition, like, we're wired to punish ourselves for some reason,
Yes. Yes,
and
we
to
are.
relive the worst parts of ourselves, like we ruminate on those things instead of accepting these are things I couldn't change, and now I'm
Mhm.
going to go live my best life, right? And it is so hard to do that. It's one of the
Yeah.
hardest things I've ever had to do. It's one of the hardest things anybody can ever do is accepting the parts of us that we
Mhm.
regret, right?
Yes. Yes. It's like, when you have an A in school, but then you say to yourself, "I should have had an A plus."
Yeah.
You just got an A, but you're focusing on you should have had an A plus. And that's the problem we as humans, we tend to focus on that, on the negative part. And that's what I did for 18, almost 18 years. I focused on not being a good wife, or he wasn't happy with me, or all the other things that they were just in my head, to be honest.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
They were all
Yep.
in my head because I guess because I've always felt like I wasn't worthy of anything. I wasn't worthy of love. I wasn't worthy of being happy. So being happy is like, wait, what is this? Is this a strange emotion? I don't know what this is.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
it's just I just feel happy. I am happy. I
Mhm.
am happy with who I am. And I'm happy that I'm helping other widows.
Mhm.
That brings me joy. That's what that I feel like I finally found my purpose. I mean, I've been going through different businesses. I've been trying so many things, looking for something.
Yes.
And little did I know that whatever I was looking for was here inside of me.
Mhm.
It wasn't out there.
Yeah.
And now that I feel, I want to share with others, and I want others to feel the same way, and I want widows to understand that yes, it's a lonely road, but you don't have to be alone.
Mhm. Mhm.
You don't have to be alone. There's other sisters going through the same thing.
You never know what someone's story is, and witnessing that heals you.
Hmm.
Witnessing someone else's pain heals you,
It
right? And
does. It really does.
I think that is one of the best parts of doing this. I had no
Mhm.
idea, you know, thinking, okay, yes, sometimes women lose their husbands, right? But hearing your story, oh, I didn't feel like I was worthy of my husband's love until 18 years after he passed away, right? You
Yeah,
don't even think
exactly.
that of that as a
Mhm.
possibility, right? And
Exactly.
there's probably a lot of women that experience that,
Mhm.
but we don't know unless we talk about it and unless we make
And
this
that's the
commitment.
thing. Yeah, a lot of people are afraid to talk about it, to share, their
Mhm,
stories. And I was one of them. I was afraid to share myself. For one, I was like, who's gonna care that I'm sharing my story? Like, who cares? You know? But then I realized it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because if I could reach one woman, if one woman can hear my story and say, you know what? I understand. I was feeling the same way. Now I get it, why I'm feeling like that.
mhm.
Then I did my job.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And that's another thing too is there is so much shame in grief, not just the stuff we put on ourselves, but what other people put onto
Society?
us. And exactly, we are so conditioned to hide bad parts of our
Mhm.
lives.
Yeah.
And that just perpetuates the shame cycle, right? So
Yes.
by opening up and putting it out there and sharing these things,
Mhm.
we're not only helping people heal, but helping people accept that it's okay to see the bad parts of life and the
Yeah.
difficult parts of
And
life.
grief is a part of life. I mean,
Absolutely.
totally a
Absolutely.
part of life. But it's
Everybody
just I
experiences it.
think I I think that the reason a lot of people don't want to hear about grief, and that's just my opinion, but I think it because grief reminds them of their mortality,
Mhm. Yep, yep.
and they don't want to see that. They're like, I don't want to know that someday I might die or someday that
Yeah.
might happen to me as well.
Mhm. Well, and it's funny too because death is my biggest fear in life. I'm terrified of death, but
It's funny. I'm not at all. I am
no,
not afraid of death at all.
I have always been afraid of death since I was a
Wow.
very young child, and that's why I wanted to start doing this is, like,
Right.
witnessing it and seeing the beauty in it and seeing the compassion and the strength to kinda just throw yourself into it and the more you learn
Mhm.
about it and the more you witness it, maybe it's not so scary, right? And I'm getting there, but it's still it's still scary.
I honestly, I am not afraid of dying. I just because I don't see I guess it depends on your view, everybody's view is different. For me, I don't see dying as, like, I'm gone. Like,
Mhm,
I feel like it's just I'm moving on to another plane. I'm moving on to another level. Basically,
mhm.
that's how I see it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'm gonna have to carry
And
those words with me a little bit and remind myself.
and you
Idaliz says
always
it's
live on.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. I said it was okay. And then you live on. You live on in your children, you live on in your grandkids, you live on in the people that know you.
Yeah,
And that's one thing that I wasn't doing, which is why I'm trying to bring my husband back because I wasn't doing that. I wasn't making people showing people who he was.
yeah.
I just kept him in a box and put him away, like
Mhm,
I did with the teddy bear and his stuff.
yeah,
I put him in a box and just didn't talk about it.
mhm, mhm.
And people need to know that he was this wonderful man. I mean, did we have a perfect marriage? No. Trust me, we didn't. Did we have fights? Yes, we did. We
Yeah,
were just like every other couple. But he was a great man. He really was. He was kind. He was sweet. And all that should be shared with my
yeah,
grandkids, with my children, with people that not that no know me and they get to know him through me.
yeah.
You know? Oh wow, so that was how your husband was. And yeah, that was him. You know? And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him
Mhm,
because he
mhm,
took a chance on me. You know? He pushed me to be a better person. So I am who I am because of him. And I need to share that. I need to let
absolutely.
people know who he was.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, it's it's beautiful. It really is, you know? It's just such a beautiful love story, and I'm a sucker for a good love story. Uh, I don't come off as the kind of person who would like that kind of stuff, but it truly
On the
does, like
mushy stuff.
yeah, it brings so much joy to my heart when I hear, people celebrate their love and celebrate their loved
Mhm.
ones. Like it really
Yep.
does make me so incredibly happy. And I love that you were able to come to a place where you could love him
Yep.
again.
Mhm. I am. I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
And now I just wanna sing it to the world.
Yeah. Well, you are though, and that's the greatest part, right? You're sharing him with so many people. And I think that every time you share your story, you're sharing him,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes.
you're honoring him in everything you do. And
Yep.
that's like
And that's
a
my goal.
really special thing. Yeah.
The other person I was talking to about a podcast that I'm gonna do with her, she asked me a question. She said, Is there any topic that you feel that we shouldn't touch?" And I told her, at this point in my life, no, there isn't.
Mhm.
I don't it doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
Any topic that you wanna ask me, I will answer because I'm already come to terms with who I am,
Mhm.
who I used to be, and who I am want to be. And I don't wanna keep secrets. I don't wanna keep hiding who I am. I've
Mhm.
been doing that for so many years. I don't wanna hide anymore. This is me. This is who I am. This is my story.
Yep. Yep.
And I am not willing to hide anymore.
Well, and I think that's amazing too because you are talking openly about sexual assault, which is a really hard thing to do. You
Mm,
are talking about not feeling good enough as a wife. You are talking about not grieving your husband and
mhm,
suppressing that grief. Those 3 things right there come with so much shame and guilt and to be able to say, "No, no, 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 no.
mhm. Yep,
I'm going to willingly share that so someone else can find power in it and someone else can see themselves in it."
exactly. And that's my purpose. That's all I'm doing it for
Yeah.
because
No, I
I
think
wanna do that for some
that
other women
is
that might need it.
I'm so glad that you've created a space for other widows to come to share their their shame and their guilt and their
Yeah,
pain.
their journey through
Yeah,
grief,
yeah,
because it is a
yeah.
journey. That's it's not. It doesn't happen all one time and that's it. This is a long process.
Hmm. Hmm.
It is.
Yeah,
It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey.
it really is. And there are so many ups and downs with grief, especially when shame and guilt are attached to it. And some days you don't even think about it.
Hmm.
Even 10, 15 years later, you don't even think about it. And then out of the blue
Exactly. Ish.
on
It hits you.
year 15, day one, spiral, you know?
Exactly. You're right. That's exactly how it is. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So it's so important to have these places where you feel safe to be
Hmm.
open and honest about the things that maybe in the moment you weren't proud of, but now you're like, whatever.
Yeah,
I
that's
did
how I
that.
feel right now.
I did that. I learned, and now I'm here
Yeah.
to talk about it.
I wanted, to be honest, I'm hoping to make it a movement
Hmm.
where women could make circles, not just here, but maybe other cities. They just create a circle, because I don't want to call a group. I don't like that. But I want it to be a circle of sisters who are, going through this
Hmm.
same thing in a different way, because
Yeah.
everybody's different, but still the same thing, the basic thing, just being a widow. This is a great support right here.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, because it gave me a place to share my story,
Hmm.
a place to
Hmm.
speak what I'm feeling and how I can help others.
It's just really nice to have such strong women in this community who are doing such wonderful things for others, and I'm
Yeah.
just like super proud to know you.
Oh, sure, definitely. Well, I am on Facebook, definitely. I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok.
Thank you so much for joining me again. I really hope that we
Mm,
connect again and keep in
yes,
touch.
please. Yeah,
Okay.
keep in touch, definitely.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
You
It,
too. Thank you
it
so
was an
much.
honor talking to you again, my friend.
Same here.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was my conversation with Idaliz. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to put all of her information in the description, but her website is bloomingafterloss.com. Yeah. If you if you are struggling with the loss of your partner, I highly suggest you reach out and maybe join one of her groups. She's a real good lady. I like this one. Thank you for joining me today, friends. I hope you had a great day. If you didn't, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was going to say something and I didn't. Okay, bye.